Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday, July 24th. And it looks to me that the earnings came out pretty a little bit mixed, I guess, because Tesla is down, Google is up, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. Market overall reacted very positively. They were way up. And you saw them melting up into the close, and Nasdaq not in a bigger way than that. So pretty good move to the upside so far. The overnight is holding on to these gains. So yeah, the big tech earnings started out with at least a positive reaction. That's a good sign. The only one I'm seeing on the downside is Tesla, which is down $20. Guess they disappointed a bit. So looking at the news for this morning. We get at 8:30 we had jobless claims and Chicago Fed National Activity Index. I think that's going to be a big deal, but so jobless claims at 8:30, PMI composite at 9:45, new home sales at 10, nat gas report at 10:30, and that's about it. Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Index at 11. So, okay, so we got the 8:30, 9:45, 10, and 11 we haven't used. None of it, I think, is going to be any big reaction in terms of in the market. None of it is like heavy duty news. So I'm thinking I'm thinking long side of the market. If this reaction on the news it can sustain itself, we'll probably have a good shot at taking this higher. So the ES made a move out of the middle into yesterday's trading to the upside. It took out the highs. We are in price discovery territory at 6,400. The only caveat in the ES is really they're right up at 6,400. Nice and even numbers shouldn't have any impact, but it does. So 6,400, that's where we are. We'll see if they can hold on to that going into today's trading. Um, we have more tech earnings coming out. I don't know quite the schedule, but yes, to keep expecting earnings after the close, and we are in smack in the middle of that earnings season. But so far, the reaction has been positive, and market is trying to take this higher, and let's see how far they can take it. So started from the long side of the market, still watching it now. We have that low volume area at the 63.15s. We also have another ledge here at the 63.50s, right? So you see that ledge right there, 63.50s. That's the one to pay attention to. If that comes out, take off the long bias and go back range bound, maybe even start thinking retracement. If they start taking out that low at the 63.15s, bets are off. We are heading lower at that point. So those are the two levels I'm keying in on. So the first one, if they back off this upper level, is 63.50. It's going to be the low of yesterday's trading. If that comes out, I'm going back range bound. If not, if they hold on to that, I'm going to stay on the long side of the market or favor the long side. So we're in price discovery to the upside, guys. It's been pretty spectacular. We see so looking to buy weakness at against 63.95 against the 85s, I should say 85 to 90s. There's like 85, 88 here, that mode of yesterday. 63.75s, the 65s down to that 50 level for rotation spikes. It's like 50 to 55, I think. So, but below that 55 level, take off the long bias, go back range bound. So you have a first indication it's going to come here at the 75s. You have that probe up here from a few days back. They're retesting that overnight, yesterday's overnight, and then they took it out. So there's definitely a potential edge here at the 75s, but I would give it all the way down to the 55s here this morning to see if before I start changing my bias, because I mean, yesterday's rally could very well have been a rumor fact kind of setup. So we had the rumor, now we have the fact, news came out. The overnight may not have reacted, but we may get a pretty good knockdown if that's the case. But if that knockdown takes out that 63.55s, I would be more inclined to change my bias and say, okay, maybe it's a bigger deal than that. But we have more earnings coming out, so I'm not sure we may get a knockdown, but I don't think we're going to be taking out the 55s, at least right from the get-go. All right, so that's how we get started. On the short side, not going to be very aggressive on the short side at all. When the market trades like this, the only thing you can hope for is if you're looking for shorts, is there's shorts all over the place, but not any big ones. So you're looking for a good setup and a trigger for a quick scalp. But I would favor the long side of the market at this point, given that we are still in the move out of the middle. So look to buy against weakness, 63.95, 80.85. Sorry, 85 to 88, 75, 65 down to the 55, 50 to 55 here for rotations back up. So that's kind of the dynamic we are looking at this morning on the ES. And let's see how far they can take it. Looking at the NASDAQ and the bonds. Bond market is just staying in range, and not much to say about that guy. Just look at 3 levels up, 3 levels down. It's pretty quick analysis on that one. So looking to buy against the 13s, 112.26, 112.20. Looking to sell strength, 113.10, 113.16, 20s, maybe up to the 26s. Rotations back down, and that's about it. That's how we get started. Let's see where they're gonna go. It's been pretty down range band. That's drifting up and down, back and forth. Not any big directional moves on the bond for quite a while. And as you can see, I mean, you can see this big distribution is built. We are trading back and forth in that distribution. So not much to say about it. Just trade it range bound. You have to be very patient trading bonds right now because it's so slow. You get in on a trade, you're gonna have to sit in it for 15 minutes before it starts developing. Very, very hard depending on your patience level. On the Nasdaq, pretty good move on the upside. They rocketed into the close here. They're right up here at the highs at the 400s, but hasn't quite taken it out yet. So we are still technically range bound on the Nasdaq. We're in stage 3. We have not extended for 2 days. So we entered stage 2. Looks like they cut off the selling at 23,100s. We are right back up again. So we have a range. That range is now 23,100s up to the 23,400s. So that's the range we got to work with right now. And if I fold this together, you can see that we are pretty much still in this range. If they start taking out that 400, start extending past it, well, yeah, my bets are off. We are heading higher. The ES is the one which potentially could lead us higher, and depending on how that develops in the morning. But right now, I would start off Nasdaq with looking for early strength, not necessarily leaning long, but looking for early strength to retest these highs. And I would be looking for shorts against the 390 and 420s for rotations back down. All hinges on if they this is a run up to that upper edge is going to be knocked down or not. And it's anyone's guess. So if they take out that London low, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive on the short side to see if they can retrace further. But if they, well, I'll put it this way: if they start trading higher, test the 90s and the 420s and start backing off, you can look for a short trade. If they back off the 350s early in the morning hours before the London close, I would be a lot more aggressive on the short side and see how far they can retrace it. It kind of hinges on which direction it goes. If you only see like a little bit of early weakness right from the get-go, I would look to buy against the 350s, maybe down to the 320s here for rotations back up. But that's part of looking for that retest of the high. But if you get that retest of the upper levels, 390 to 420 early on, and they start backing off from there, that's when you get a little bit more aggressive on that short below the 350s. So it just depends on which order they go about this. So sometimes you just get early weakness, they start to immediately weakness. That's when you're looking to buy against it. If you get the retest, especially on the Nasdaq, which is up against this upper edge, and that fails, now you're in a different dynamic. Now the edge got tested, failed, and now we're looking at a potentially bigger move to the downside. So that's the thought process behind that. All right, so that's the Nasdaq. But here's the Nasdaq starting off looking for moves to the upside, looking favoring the long side of the market. The ES leaning long, the Nasdaq looking for early strength to see if they can take out that upper edge. Finally, oil and gold. So gold, a major meltdown. So there you go. That's so much for gold. This is why gold is so gnarly. You can see here, they started up from the 33, 40, 45s, They ran it all the way up to the 30, $100 to the upside, and now they reversed pretty much the whole thing, heading back down to that 33.45 level. I mean, that's what makes it just massively gnarly to trade. Great opportunities there, but if you can stick with it, so. But look at that overnight taking it lower. So I would start off on the short side, looking to sell strength up to the London high here at 33.85s. That would be this upper edge. No, sorry, that would be is it this lower edge? The reverse retesting this lower edge. The attractor is at 34.05. So if they pull back and reverse retest that upper edge, it's going to be that ledge from that prior distribution and also the low of that in the current one. So in this general area. So that reverse retest, looking for shorts against that. But if it comes out and it starts trading above it, look for a move up here to the 3400s again. But this is volatility on steroids, that's for sure. So I'm looking for a rotation back down here to the 33.40s. We'll see how far they can take it. But initially starting from the short side on gold, let's see how far, let's see if they can extend to the downside here. But if they retrace past that London high, I would take off that short bias and look for a retracement a little bit higher. At that point, that's that ledge they need to hold. So, and then I'm going to look for a rotation back here to that 3400 level up here. That's your attractor. So there you have it on gold. A lot of volatility on that guy. Oil, not doing anything, just range bound trading on that guy. Look to fade the edges fairly equally. At this point, look to sell strength against 65.90 and the 66.20s. Look to buy against the 65.30s and the 64.80s. If this starts trading above 66.30s, I would look for moves up here towards the 67.68s. And if they take out the 64.70s, look for a retest of that, or look for a test of that 64 level. Now, unless they take out 64, we're pretty much going to be sticking in the range there. So on my capital flow, oil is pretty much stuck in this range right now, around the 66 level. So they watch that low volume area at 64. That comes out. Could be a piece of news doing it. Could be something else. But if that low volume area comes out, we can certainly head right back down to the 61. Could be a nice trade in that when that happens. But when it happens, who knows? And if this starts trading higher, look to sell strength all the way up here to the 68.80 to 69s. That's the upper edge. So you have all this volume to work in. Right now we're testing the lower edges. Volume is building to the downside, implying maybe we get a test of the lows, maybe lower. But right now it's holding in the range. So I would look for early weakness on oil and see if they can retest these lows. But initially I would just start off range bound and then see if I see that early weakness or not. But primarily range bound to get started this morning. So that's oil. That's gold. Take a look at the ES and the Nasdaq, pretty much where we left it. So the ES is in price discovery to the upside in the move out of the middle. Nasdaq is just up testing that upper edge. So let's see how this develops. Who's going to lead? Who's going to lead who this morning, right? Anyway, we'll wrap it there. So good trading, and I will see you guys back at 11:30 for the next update. And remember, it's summer trading. Don't over trade it. It's like 85,000 on the micro ES. It's 84,000 on the full size. So yeah, it's summer trading, light volume, which implies you can get violent moves if a little bit of volume kicks in. So that's always something to pay attention to. All right, guys. See you later.